The punch landed square on my jaw. A crack like thunder in the sticky summer air of that godforsaken backyard barbecue. Blood tasted like copper pennies on my tongue as I hit the grass, stars exploding behind my eyelids. But it was his voice. Joseph's voice, my best friend since we were kids stealing smokes from his dad's garage. That cut deeper. "You're disgusting, Sammy. Just stay away from me." And then the screen door slammed, sealing me out forever, while my parents watched from the porch, their faces twisted not in horror, but in something worse, relief. I was 14 that day, all gangly limbs and secrets I couldn't hide anymore. Samuel Hayes, the kid with the too soft voice and the habit of staring too long at the boys on the swim team. Ugly, they called me. Not just the bullies at Jefferson High, but my own blood. "You're an embarrassment," Dad had growled that morning, his belt still warm from the whipping he'd given me for acting like that. Mom just nodded, her lipstick smeared from crying, as they packed my duffel with yesterday's clothes. "Go to your aunt's in Seattle. Don't come back until you're fixed." Fixed, like I was a busted carburetor on one of Dad's junkyard Fords. That was 20 years ago, in the Rust Belt sprawl of Youngstown, Ohio, steel mills coughing black smoke into skies that never cleared. I didn't fix. I fled. Aunt Clara took me in, her tiny bungalow smelling of lavender and regret, and she never asked why my letters home went unanswered. High school blurred into a haze of hoodies pulled low and books clutched like shields. College at Ohio State was my first taste of air. Queer alliance meetings in basements, boys with kind eyes who didn't flinch at my stutter. But Joseph, he haunted me like a ghost in flannel. The boy who'd shared his first kiss with me behind the bleachers. All tentative lips and whispered promises, only to shatter it all when the town whispers turned to shouts. Now here I was, stepping off a Greyhound into the same cracked parking lot of Jefferson High. The reunion invite crumpled in my fist like a bad habit I couldn't quit. 34 years old. A graphic designer in Chicago with a loft overlooking Lake Michigan and a therapy bill that could sink a ship. I'd built walls higher than the mill's smokestacks. Successful, sure, but hollow. Single after too many ghostings. The kind where guys bolted at the first hint of my baggage. And tonight was the crack in the foundation. "Come celebrate who we were," the email had cooed. Who we were. As if I hadn't spent 2 decades running from it. The gym doors loomed like the gates of some Midwestern purgatory, balloon arches sagging under the weight of nostalgia. I smoothed my button down, charcoal gray, fitted just enough to hide the nerves, and pushed inside. The air hit me like a wet rag. Sweat and cheap cologne, mixed with the faint tang of floor wax and fried chicken from the buffet. Woohoo! Wildcats forever! Some ex-jock bellowed from the dance floor, his guts spilling over his belt as he two-stepped with a woman half his age. Laughter ricocheted off the cinder-block walls, punctuated by the thump of an 80s playlist. Springsteen wailing about glory days I never had. I scanned the room, heart jackhammering. Faces blurred. The prom queen turned realtor, her Botox smile too tight. The class clown, now a podiatrist with a comb over that screamed denial. No sign of them, yet. I grabbed a plastic cup of watery punch, the ice melting faster than my resolve, and retreated to a folding chair by the trophy case. Glass gleamed with faded plaques, State Champs '05, MVP Joseph Riley. There he was, frozen in laminate glory. Broad shoulders, that cocky grin, hair tousled like he'd just rolled out of bed. My throat tightened. Joseph, the one who'd punched me, the one who'd loved me or said he did. Sammy Hayes? No way, man. A hand clamped my shoulder, yanking me back to the present. It was Tommy Whitaker, debate team captain turned ambulance chaser, his tie askew and breath like onions. "Look at you. City slicker now." "Huh? Heard you went all artsy-fartsy out west." "Chicago," I corrected, forcing a grin. "East, actually. And it's graphic design, not finger painting." He barked a laugh, too loud, drawing eyes. "Still got that mouth on ya. Remember when you, hey, speaking of, your folks are here. Over by the photo booth. Big reunion for everybody. Right?" My cup crumpled in my grip, punch sloshing over my knuckles. "My folks." "Yeah, man. Drove in from Florida. Your dad looks the same. Mean as a snake. Mom's all dolled up, though. Go say hi. Closure and shit. Closure. The word tasted like ash. I mumbled something about the John and bolted for the hallway, the door swinging shut behind me with a pneumatic hiss. The corridor stretched dim and empty, lockers dented like old scars, the air cooler but no less suffocating. I leaned against the cool metal, breath ragged, memories crashing like Lake Michigan waves in a storm. It hadn't been just the punch. After Joseph turned on me, the town closed ranks. Whispers in the diner. Hayes boys queer as a $3 bill. Dad's buddies at the mill stopped coming over for poker, their wives shooting Mom pitying looks at the grocery. Then the night they drove me to Aunt Clara's. 3 hours of silence broken only by Dad's knuckles white on the wheel and Mom's occasional sob. "We love you, Sammy," she'd whispered at the door, her hand trembling on the knob. "But this ain't our boy. Ugly." The word she'd hurled in the heat of it, after finding my hidden stash of magazines. Men, not women, all lithe and laughing. "You're ugly inside, and it's ruining us." I slid down the locker, knees to chest, the tile cold through my slacks. Why come back? The invite had been a lark, forwarded by a cousin I'd long ghosted. Heal the past, it promised. Bullshit. I'd healed nothing. My career was a distraction, logos for craft breweries, apps for nonprofits, but the nights? Empty, scrolling grinder for faces that never stayed. And love? The closest I'd come was Mark, a barista with dimples and dreams, who bailed when I froze during a family dinner story. "Too much drama," he'd said. Drama. Like my life was a soap opera, not a goddamn survival tale. Footsteps echoed, snapping me upright. A shadow detached from the gloom, tall, broad, moving with that old Riley swagger. My pulse spiked. Not possible. Samuel? The voice was gravel and smoke, deeper now, but unmistakable. Joseph stepped into the light, and time folded like a bad map. Same jawline, sharper now with stubble. Eyes green as the football field after rain, lined with years I didn't share. He wore a leather jacket over a Henley, jeans faded at the knees, effortless like he hadn't aged a day. But the scar above his lip, from that skateboarding wipeout we'd laughed about, tugged when he smiled, hesitant. "Holy shit, it's really you." I stood, wiping my hands on my thighs, words tangling. "Joseph." "Yeah. A long time." He rubbed the back of his neck, that old tell when he was nervous. Same as when he'd confessed his crush under the oak tree, acorns crunching underfoot. "Listen, I saw Tommy yapping at you. Figured you'd bolt. This place, man, it's a minefield." "Understatement," I muttered, glancing toward the gym doors. Muffled cheers filtered through. Someone butchering, "Don't stop believin'." "What are you doing here? Last I heard, you were coaching Pee Wee League in Cleveland." He chuckled, low and rueful. "Still am. Divorced last year, Lindsay. Remember her? Prom night disaster. Anyway, she got the house. I got the dog and regrets." His gaze dropped, then lifted, searching mine. "And you? Chicago suits you. Saw your Insta once, artsy shit. Looks good." Heat crept up my neck. "Insta." I posted a skyline shot, nothing personal. "It's fine. Pays the bills." "What about?" The doors banged open, spilling light and laughter. Tommy again, red-faced, towing a woman with bottle blonde hair. "There you are. Sammy, meet my wife, second wife, Kendra. And hey, Joe." Group hug. Joseph clapped Tommy's back, easy as ever, but his eyes flicked to me. Apology in the crinkle. We migrated back in, the crowd swallowing us like quicksand. Kendra prattled about her essential oils and alum. Tommy guffawed at old pranks, and Joseph? He hovered, refilling my cup, brushing my arm in the buffet line. Accidental or muscle memory? Then I saw them. Across the room, by the punch bowl that matched mine, Dad in his plaid shirt, guts straining the buttons, nursing a beer. Mom beside him, silver streaks in her bob, pearls at her throat like armor. They were laughing at what? A photo, maybe, from the slideshow cycling on the projector. Us kids, braces and bad hair, frozen in innocence. My feet moved before my brain caught up, weaving through clusters of X's, swapping divorces like trading cards. Joseph's hand grazed my elbow. "Sammy, wait." But I shook it off, the old fire licking my veins. They turned as I approached, Dad's bushy brows knitting, Mom's hand fluttering to her chest. "Samuel," she breathed, like I'd risen from the dead, which, in a way, I had. "Mom, Dad." My voice was steady, a miracle. Up close, Dad's face was a roadmap of mill dust and Miller lights, eyes bloodshot. Mom looked smaller, fragility etched in the lines around her mouth. Dad cleared his throat, setting down his cup. "Didn't expect you'd show. After everything. Everything." I echoed it, tasting bile. "Like dumping your son on a Greyhound because he didn't fit your Norman Rockwell fantasy?" "Yeah, that everything." Mom's eyes welled, quick as summer thunder. "We were scared, baby. The town, the church, they said it was a phase. Your father lost his job, Sammy." Whispers turned to pink slips. "Scared." The word cracked like the punch from 20 years back. "You called me ugly. Said I was broken. Do you know what that does to a kid? I spent years thinking I was a monster." Dad shifted, uncomfortable, glancing at the crowd. Eyes on us now, whispers rippling. "We did what we thought was right. Tough love. You turned out fine, didn't you? Got your fancy job." "Fine." Laughter bubbled up, bitter. "I'm alive, if that's what you mean. But fine? Try therapy 3 times a week. Try waking up at 34 with no family photos on the wall because the ones I had burned in my brain." Joseph materialized at my side, a solid warmth against the chill. "Mr. Hayes, Mrs. Hayes, maybe this ain't the place." His voice was calm, coach mode, but his fingers brushed mine, hidden by the tablecloth. "Anchor." Dad's gaze sharpened on him. "Riley, you heard you had your own troubles. That wife of yours." "Enough." Mom's hand on Dad's arm, trembling. "Samuel, we've changed. Groups in Florida, for parents like us. Flag or something. We wrote letters, but they came back. We thought you hated us." "Hated." The word hung, heavy as the humidity outside. I searched her face, saw the woman who'd baked apple pie on Sundays, who'd bandaged my knees after falls. Not the monster I'd built her into. I admitted, voice raw. "Still do some days. But I came back. For me. Not you." The slideshow clicked. A photo of me and Joseph, arms slung around each other at homecoming, grins wide as the Ohio River. The room hushed, then a smatter of applause, nostalgia's polite veil. Joseph leaned in, breath warm on my ear. "Walk with me? Outside." I nodded, the fight draining like air from a tire. We slipped out a side door, into the football field, dew-kissed grass crunching underfoot. The stands loomed dark, ghosts of cheers long faded. Moonlight silvered the goalposts, turning the world soft-edged. He stopped at the 50-yard line, hands in pockets. "I owe you an apology bigger than this field, Sammy. That day, the barbecue. I was terrified. My old man found out about us, threatened to kick me out. Panicked, lashed out. Punched you to prove I wasn't, gay." The word dropped like a stone, but light now, after all these years. "You were, Joe, and so was I. Still am." He turned, eyes gleaming. "Yeah, figured that out in college. Dated women to fit, but it never stuck. Divorced because I couldn't lie anymore. And you, I followed you in a creepy way. Your art, it's beautiful, like you always were." My chest ached, a dam cracking. Beautiful? I was ugly to them. To you. To me. He stepped closer, close enough to smell his soap. Pine and regret. "You were everything. That punch? Worst mistake of my life. I loved you then, Sammy. Love you now if you'll let me try." The words hung, fragile as fireflies. I reached out, tentative, tracing the scar on his lip. "Joseph, I don't know if I can. The betrayal." "I know." His hand covered mine, warm. "But start small. Coffee in Chicago? Or here, tomorrow brunch at that diner on Elm? No pressure. Just us. The gym doors creaked, spilling light. Voices called Tommy's, slurred with sentiment. But out here, under the stars, it was just us. Two boys who'd broken, rebuilt, returned. I nodded, throat tight. Brunch. But if you punch me again, I'll deck you back. He laughed, real and rumbling, pulling me into a hug, bone-crushing, safe. Deal. As we walked back, arm brushing arm, I glanced over my shoulder at the school, its windows glowing like eyes. The past wasn't erased, but maybe, just maybe, it could be shared. The diner on Elm Street hadn't changed. Same vinyl booths cracked like old leather. Same coffee that could strip paint. Same waitress named Flo who'd carded us for sneaking cokes at 13. Joseph slid into the booth across from me, knees bumping mine under the Formica top, and for a second, I flashed to that first awkward date. Stolen fries and stuttered secrets after swim practice. Now, 20 years later, the jukebox crooned Patsy Cline, and the air hummed with possibility laced with peril. You still take it black? 2 sugars? He asked, signaling Flo with that easy charm that used to make my stomach flip. Guilty, I said, managing a smile. My head throbbed from last night's half bottle of reunion scotch, chased with too many what-ifs. Mom's tear-streaked face in the parking lot, Dad's gruff, call your mother, as they drove off in their rented Impala. It all swirled like bad diner hash. Closure? More like a loose thread, tugging at scars I'd thought healed. He ordered for us. Omelets loaded, bacon crisp, and leaned back, studying me like a play he'd forgotten the lines to. So, Chicago, tell me everything, or nothing, whatever you're ready for. I stirred my coffee, spoon clinking like a metronome to my pulse. Everything's a novel, Joe. Grew up with Aunt Clara, sweet lady, baked terrible cookies. Ohio State for design, then the city. Clients, deadlines, the grind. Dated a string of baristas and bankers who ghosted faster than you can say, commitment issues. Therapy helps. Mostly. His jaw tightened at the ghosting line, green eyes darkening. Sounds lonely. Mine's no fairy tale either. Coaching keeps me busy. Kids are great. No bullshit. But after Lindsay, well, I came out to the team last spring. Parents mostly. One dad pulled his kid. Called me a bad influence. Hurt like hell. Joseph Riley out and proud. I whistled low, half teasing, half awed. The town must have imploded. Nah. Youngstown's mellowed, Mills closing did that, forced folks inward. My old man's in a home now, dementia. Doesn't remember the threats. He paused, fork hovering over his eggs. Doesn't remember me punching you either. Small mercies. The punch. It hovered between us, a specter at the table. I set down my mug, the ceramic warm against my palms. Why'd you do it, really? We had something. Behind the bleachers that night. God, that night. His smile was soft, edged with pain. Your laugh, Sammy, lit me up like the 4th of July. But Dad found the note I'd written you. Meet at the field, Jay. Beat the tar out of me, said I'd burn in hell if I didn't man up. Next day, the barbecue. I saw him watching and I snapped, projected all my fear onto you. The ugliest thing I ever did. Ugly. The word echoed. A ghost from my parents' porch. I swallowed hard, the omelet turning leaden. It wasn't just you. The whole town piled on. Notes in my locker. Fag haze. Tires slashed on Aunt Clara's Civic. I transferred schools junior year, finished online. Became invisible. He reached across, hand covering mine. Calloused from whistleblowing, steady. I'm sorry. For my part, for not fighting harder. I tried after, drove to Seattle once, your aunt's place. Chickened out at the door. Too much coward in me. My fingers curled under his, the contact electric. Forbidden fruit after famine. Seattle was quiet. Rain washed everything clean. But I carried you, Joe. In sketches I burned, songs I hummed off-key. Wondered if you'd ever wake up. I'm awake now. His thumb traced my knuckle, gaze holding mine. Question is, are you? Last night, with your folks, that took guts. You could have walked away clean. Clean. I pulled back, not harshly, just enough space to breathe. Nothing's clean. They abandoned me, yeah, for being ugly, for not fitting their straight-A all-American mold. But seeing them, Mom's hands shook, Joe, like she was holding ghosts too. Dad muttered about AA meetings, owning his shit. It's not forgiveness, not yet. But it's something. Flo refilled our cups. Her wink saying she'd seen stranger breakfasts. The diner filled. Truckers in flannel, moms with toddlers in tow, life marching on. Oblivious. Joseph nodded, slow. Human is what it is. Messy. Like us. He hesitated. Then, what if we tried? Not the kids we were, but this. Coffee turns to dinners, visits to weekends. No rush. I can drive to Chicago, scenic Route 90, blast some Dylan. My heart stuttered, a traitorous leap. And if it crashes? More betrayal. Then we crash honest. His grin flashed, boyish. Better than never starting. We lingered over pie, apple, a la mode, talking detours. His dog's separation anxiety. My latest project, a mural for a queer youth center. Irony not lost. Laughter came easier, rusty but real. As we paid up, his hand at my low back guiding me out. Proprietary, protective. The Ohio sun broke through clouds, gilding the sidewalk gold. Walk you to your bus? He offered. But his truck was parked curbside. A battered Ford that screamed nostalgia. Nah. Stay. Impulse or fate? Show me the town. The parts that didn't break me. He did. We cruised the Mahoning River, bridges rusted but standing. Then the old mill district. Skeletal skeletons of industry. Now graffiti canvases I itched to photograph. At the park where we'd raced bikes, he parked, and we wandered paths lined with sycamores shedding leaves like confessions. Tell me about Mark, he said, skipping a stone across the water. 3 skips, perfect. The ghoster. I sighed, settling on a bench, the wood warm from the sun. Sweet guy. Met at a coffee shop, cliché, I know. Dimples for days, baked killer scones. We talked futures, but when I opened up about the abandonment, he said it was too heavy. Bolted to Portland for a pop-up bakery gig. Left a note. You're amazing, but I can't carry that. Joseph Stone skipped 4 times, splashing up rainbows. His loss. Sounds like he couldn't handle the depth. You're an ocean, Sammy. Deep. Pulling. Pulling. I bumped his shoulder, playful. Romantic much, coach? Guilty. He bumped back, then sobered. But seriously, I get the weight. My coming out? Team parents grilled me. What about the boys? Like I'd corrupt them with authenticity. Lost sponsors, had to fundraise double. Felt like betrayal all over again. We sat in companionable silence. River murmuring secrets. Bugs hummed. A lazy symphony. His arm draped the bench back. Casual, but his pinky hooked mine. Deliberate. Heat bloomed, not lust, but longing. For connection, untainted. My folks called this morning. I admitted, voice low. Mom left a voicemail, apologized again, invited me to Florida for Christmas. Dad grunted in the background. Part of me wants to say yes, see if the human part wins. Go, he urged, squeezing my finger. Not for them, for you. Break the cycle. And you? Family? He shrugged. Sis in Pittsburgh, cool with it, sends pride flags for game days. Mom passed 5 years back. Dad, we'll see. But I've got my kids. And now, maybe you. The maybe hung sweet as honeysuckle. As dusk crept in, painting the sky bruise purple, we drove back to the station. Radio low on Lucinda Williams. Aching ballads of love lost and found. He walked me to the platform. Bus idling like an impatient beast. Text when you land, he said, pulling me into another hug. Longer this time, his chin on my shoulder. And Sammy? You're not ugly. Never were. Beautiful inside and out. I boarded with his words as ballast. The engine rumble carrying me west. Chicago lights beckoned, but for the first time, Ohio didn't feel like chains. Felt like roots, tentative, reaching. 2 weeks blurred into emails. Joseph's game recaps. My client rants. Then calls, voices bridging the miles. Miss your laugh, he'd say. And I'd melt, firewalls crumbling. Weekend came. He drove up, truck loaded with Buckeye candy and a duffel for the night couch, we joked, but eyes said otherwise. My loft was a sanctuary. Exposed brick, canvases stacked like unanswered prayers, view of the lake churning gray. He arrived windswept, beard dusted with road salt, and pulled me into a kiss at the door, soft, searching, 20 years overdue. No fire, just embers reigniting. We talked till dawn over takeout Thai. His head on my thigh, fingers tracing tattoos I'd inked to cover scars. But cracks showed. Monday, my phone buzzed, Mom, voice quavery. Your father's sick, Sammy. Prostate. Doctors say. Come home. Home. The word twisted, a knife in the gut. Joseph held me after, on the fire escape, city sirens wailing below. Go. I'll cover your shift. Wait, no, your work. Whatever. I can't face it alone. Then don't. Simple, steel. We flew out together, his hand in mine through turbulence, a united front against the past's gale. Youngstown Airport was a time capsule, faded murals of steelworkers, air stale with jet fuel and memory. Dad waited in the lot, thinner, jaundiced, Mom hovering like a shadow. Her hug was fierce, tear-damp, his handshake limp, eyes avoiding mine. Riley, Dad rasped, nodding at Joseph. Heard you're coaching. Good man. Joseph clapped his shoulder, gentle. Appreciate it, sir. Sammy's family means mine too. The word family lodged in my throat as we piled into their sedan. The drive to the house a minefield of small talk. Mom chattered about neighbors. Dad grunted about the Steelers. Joseph filled gaps with kid stories, defusing tension like a pro. Their bungalow sagged, porch light flickering, but inside smelled of Mom's pot roast. Comfort weaponized. Dinner was stilted. Plates clinking, silences heavy. Then Dad set down his fork. Samuel, about back then. I was wrong. Church poison, job stress. Called you ugly to hide my shame. Shame on me. The admission hung, raw. Mom wept quietly. I nodded, throat sealed. Joseph squeezed my knee under the table. Anchor again. Nights blurred. Hospital vigils. Dad's chemo haze. Joseph's stories coaxing laughs from the waiting room. One evening, post-treatment, Dad pulled me aside in the hall, for pole rattling. Saw how Riley looks at you, like I never looked at your mom. Not right. Don't waste it, son. Life's short. Ugly's what you let it be. Tears stung. I hugged him, bony but real. Won't, Dad. Back in Chicago, Joseph stayed. Weeks turning months, his lease broken, duffel unpacked. We built routines. Morning runs along the lake, evenings sketching while he graded playbooks. Love bloomed slow, deep, kisses in the kitchen, whispers in the dark. No betrayals, just trust, earned drop by drop. But fate's a fickle coach. Spring brought news. Dad's cancer spread. We flew back, Joseph's hand my constant. Hospice was a quiet war. Mom's vigils, my readings from old comics, Joseph's coaching tales drawing faint smiles. Dad passed on a Tuesday, rain lashing the windows, his last words a gruff, proud, Sammy. Of you both. The funeral was packed, mill ghosts, team parents, even Tommy Whitaker, tie crooked. Mom clung to me after, whispering, stay, rebuild. Joseph and I exchanged looks, decision unspoken. For summers, I said. Holidays. Family now. We drove back north, his truck humming hymns on the interstate. That shocking enough reunion? He teased, hand on my thigh. Shocking good. I leaned over, kissing his jaw. Ugly past, beautiful now. Chicago welcomed us, lake sparkling like promise. In our loft, under starlit windows, we danced to Springsteen. Glory days reclaimed. Betrayal's echo faded, replaced by heartbeat harmony. Human, messy hours. Summer hit Chicago like a freight train. Humid, relentless, the kind that turns the lake into a steam bath and tempers to tinder. Joseph's coaching season ramped up. road trips to Toledo and Akron eating weekends, but he'd crash through my door postgame, reeking of Gatorade and grass, scooping me into hugs that erased the miles. "Missed you, Hayes," he'd murmur, and I'd melt every time, like I was 20 again, not 34 going on forever. Work was a beast too. My queer youth mural deadline loomed, a massive wall in Boys Town splashed with faces. Kids like I'd been, fierce and fragile, fists raised in rainbow defiance. Sketches piled up, coffee-fueled nights bleeding into Joseph's dawn jogs. We'd collide in the kitchen, bleary-eyed over bagels, his hand on my hip as I ranted about color theory. Domestic bliss, or so it seemed, but under the surface, ripples stirred, old ghosts whispering doubts. It started with a letter, innocuous in its manila envelope, forwarded from Aunt Clara's old address. Postmark, Youngstown. Mom's handwriting, spidery now. "For your eyes, Sammy. Found in Dad's things." Inside, yellowed pages, my journal from freshman year, pages I'd thought lost in the duffel purge. Scribbles of crushes, Joseph's name underlined in hearts, rants against the town's chokehold, pleas to God for normal, and taped to the back. A Polaroid, faded but sharp, me and Joseph, bleachers shadows, his arm around my waist, grins conspiratorial. I stared at it till my eyes burned, thumb tracing our young faces. Ugly? No. Alive. But why now? Grief's cruel math. Dad gone 3 months, Mom rattling alone in that bungalow, unearthing bones. Joseph found me on the fire escape, journal splayed on my lap, the city a distant hum. He sank beside me, thigh warm against mine, and peered over. "Whoa, time machine much." "Your fault," I said, half-smile. "That pose, total setup for the gossip mill." He chuckled, but sobered quick, arm draping my shoulders. "Mom sending this. Think it's her way of saying sorry? Or testing waters?" "Both." I leaned into him, the metal railing digging my ribs. "She called yesterday, house feels empty, wants me to visit, sort Dad's tools. Alone." His grip tightened, subtle. "Go. But not alone if you don't want. I'm here. Always here." That's what scared me, the weight of it. Love like ours, forged in fire, felt too good, too fragile. What if it betrayed me again? What if he woke one morning, saw the baggage, and bolted like Mark? The mural unveiling was a circus. Boys Town blocked off, drag queens emceeing, kids from the center beaming as I pulled the drape. Flashbulbs popped, cheers erupted, Joseph's whoop loudest from the crowd. "That's my guy," carrying over the din. We celebrated at Sidetrack, beers flowing. His hand possessive on my knee under the bar. "Proud as hell, Sammy. It's you." Turning ugly into unbreakable. Later, tangled in sheets, lake breeze whispering through the blinds, I traced his scars, lip, knuckles from old fights. What if I can't go back? To Youngstown, to her. "You can. And you will, stronger." His kiss was salt and certainty. "We're a team now." But teams falter. A week later, his phone buzzed during dinner, Thai delivery steaming on the coffee table. He glanced, face shuddering. "Ex-wife, Lindsay. Needs to talk about the dog, maybe." I nodded, casual, but the old knife twisted. "Take it. I'll clean up." He stepped into the bedroom, voice muffled, but snippets leaked. "Not fair, Joe. Still hurts. Saw the pics online, you and him." My fork stilled, appetite fleeing. Pics? The reunion shots must have hit Facebook. Us in the gym, arms slung, too close for just friends. He emerged, apologetic. "She's cool, really. Just processing my update. Divorce was amicable, but seeing me happy stings." "Happy?" I echoed, testing it. "With me." "Damn right." He dropped beside me, stealing a spring roll. "Jealous?" "Of her." I scoffed, but heat pricked. "Nah. Of the dog, maybe. Rufus gets all your belly rubs." Laughter eased it, but the seed planted doubt insidious. Nights after, I'd wake to his snores, stare at the ceiling, journal ghosts mocking. "What if he leaves? What if you're too much?" Mom's next call cracked it open. Sammy, please. The garage tools everywhere. Dad's workbench. I can't. Sobs, raw. Joseph's practice ran late. I booked a solo flight, gut churning. Be back Sunday. I texted him. Cab to O'Hare, a blur of lakefront lights. Youngstown greeted me gray. Steel clouds, river sluggish. Mom at arrivals, Frylier in cardigan and slacks. Hug bone thin. You look good, baby. That man of yours, Joseph, he treating you right. Yeah, Mom. He is. The words stuck, truthful but tentative. The house was a shrine to absence. Dad's recliner dust ruffled. Mill cap on the hook. We tackled the garage slow. Hammers sorted, wrenches oiled, stories slipping out between grunts. He worried about you after Seattle, she said, wiping a socket set. Called once, asked if you were okay. I lied, said you were thriving. Didn't want to drag you back. Thriving. I paused, chisel in hand. I was surviving. Angry. At you, him, the world. She nodded, eyes down. We deserved it. That word. Ugly, I hate it. Meant to hurt, but it boomeranged. Made me ugly inside. Tears tracked her cheeks. I pulled her close. First time in decades. Her sobs soaking my shirt. That night, pasta on the stove, she unearthed more. Letters I'd written from Seattle, returned unopened. Burned them, she confessed. Too painful. And photos, family albums, me snipped out like a weed. Fixing that now. I helped tape them back, scissors snicking, a ritual of repair. But sleep evaded, couch lumpy under me. Dreams tangled. Joseph's punch, Dad's grave, Mom's apologies morphing to accusations. Ugly boy, run. Morning brought rain, relentless. At the airport, Mom hugged fierce. Bring him next time. Family. Will do. Promise. Real. Flight delayed. I texted Joseph. Miss you. Home soon. His reply, can't wait. Practice sucked without my good luck charm. Heart emoji. Simple, steady. But landing at O'Hare, phone exploded. Missed calls, Joseph's number. Voicemail. Voice tight. Sammy, call me. Lindsay. Shit went south. Panic clawed. Cab to the loft. Rain sheeting windows, mind racing worst cases. Door unlocked. Unusual. He paced the living room, phone to ear, spotting me and hanging up abrupt. What's wrong? I dropped my bag, crossing to him. Lindsay. He raked hair, wild. She saw the pics, freaked. Told her family, conservative as hell. Their threatening custody battle over Rufus. Says I'm unfit now, post coming out. Using us, me and you, as ammo. The word weaponized. My stomach dropped. Shit. What do we? Nothing yet. Lawyers on it. He pulled me close, but tension hummed. His embrace stiff. Just. Blindsided. Thought it was done. I held him, inhaling pine and fear, but doubt whispered, see? Too much. Your past pulls him under. That week was siege. Calls with attorneys, Joseph's mood swinging. Rage at Lindsay's pettiness. Despair at the system's bias. Practices suffered. Kids noticed, one pulling him aside post-drill. Coach, you okay? Look like you lost the Super Bowl. I coaxed laughs with bad puns, but the mural's triumph faded, replaced by this, love tested, not by us, but the world's grind. One night, storm raging outside, he cracked. What if she wins? Rufus is my kid, Sammy. And if I lose coaching cred? You won't. I cupped his face, thunder rumbling. Fight, like we did, me against the town, you against your dad. Together. His eyes searched mine, stormy. Together. Yeah. Kiss then, fierce, reclaiming. But betrayal lurked deeper. Digging through emails for lawyer docs, I found it, thread from months back, Joseph's inbox. Lindsay. Saw you with him at the reunion. Knew it. Don't hurt him like you hurt me. His reply, not hurting anyone. Moving on. Harmless. Then another, from Tommy. Dude. Hayes? Really? After what he was? Careful, bro. Joseph's response. Mind your business. Sammy's solid. Solid. But the thread ended there, no deletion, just buried. Trust or oversight. I slammed the laptop, heart pounding. Not jealousy, fear. Echoes of punches, abandonments. Am I the what he was? The ugly secret? Confrontation brewed. Dinner that night, steak, his favorite. I laid it out, screen between us. Found this. Tommy calling me. Me. His fork stilled, face paling. Sammy, it's nothing. Tommy's an ass, old habits. But you read it. Laughed it off. Voice rose, cracking. No, ignored it. He reached, but I pulled back. Look, post-reunion, everyone gossiped. I shut it down. You're not what I was. You're what I am. Doubt snarled. Am I? Or am I the baggage dragging you into custody wars? Lindsay's using us. Stop. He stood, chair scraping. This isn't about you. It's her spite, the town's echo. Don't let it win. But it had slithered in, twisting love to suspicion. I stormed to the bedroom, door clicking shut, tears hot. Alone, journal in hand, I scrawled. Ugly again. Run before he does. Morning brought truce, coffee, apologies. I deleted the thread, he said, handing me the phone. And Tommy's blocked. No more ghosts. Forgive me, I whispered. Fragile. Always. Hug. Mending. Lindsay's bluff folded. Lawyer scared her straight. Rufus returned with tail wags. But the scare lingered, a scar. We therapy tagged, couple sessions in a Wicker Park office, unpacking punches and Polaroids. Betrayal's a cycle, the doc said. Break it with words. We did nights journaling together, reading aloud, laughing at teen angst. Mom visited once, awkward but warm, Rufus at her feet. Beautiful family, she said, eyes on us. Fall turned the lake gold. Joseph's team won playoffs. My next gig, a queer lit cover. At the championship, under stadium lights, he dedicated the win to the guy who taught me heart over hustle. Crowd cheered. I teared up, banner in hand. Back home, snow dusting the fire escape, we slow danced to holiday tunes. Mom's fruitcake on the counter, future unwritten but ours. Ugly pasts forged, not forgotten. Shocking reunion complete. From abandoned to anchored, love the ultimate comeback. Winter clamped Chicago in iron. Winds off the lake howling like banshees. Snowdrifts burying the loft stoop. Joseph's team rode high on that playoff buzz, but the high wore thin. Undefeated streaks snapped in semis. Kids' faces crumpling like wet paper. He came home hollow-eyed, cleats dangling from his bag, collapsing on the couch with a beer. They fought hard, he'd mutter, but I saw the self-flagellation, the coach's curse of shoulda-coulda. I'd brew tea chamomile, his reluctant ritual, and knead the knots from his shoulders, thumbs digging into traps tight as mill cables. You taught him heart, Joe. Winds fade. That sticks. He'd grunt. Pull me down beside him, head on my chest, heartbeat sinking to mine. Those nights, vulnerability raw, we'd unravel. His fears of failing them mirroring my own imposter pangs at work. What if the mural's all I get? I confess. One hit, then obscurity? Then it's enough. He'd murmur, fingers lacing mine. You're enough. Enough. The word anchored us through the bleakest months. But spring teased cracks anew. Mom's letters arrived weekly now. Chatty scrawls about garden starts, PFLAG meetings, enclosed with pressed leaves or Dad's old watch. For me, she'd note, rebuilding, she signed. I replied sporadic, walls thinning but intact. Then the bomb, coming to visit, with news. April, news. My gut twisted, good? Ill? Joseph's read the card over breakfast, brow furrowing. Goes both ways, Sammy. Could be healing. Or reopening. I folded it away, but excitement flickered, traitorous. April bloomed brutal. Tulips defiant in window boxes, but my schedule snarled. Client pitch for a non-profit docuseries on Rust Belt queers. Echoes of home too close. Joseph cleared his calendar. Road trip vibe, he called it. Planning diner stops and playlist curations. Mom arrived via Amtrak. Suitcase battered. Face lined but lit from within. Hug at Union Station. Tentative, then tight, her perfume lavender faint, like Aunt Clara's hugs. The loft awed her. Fancy! But she settled quick, commandeering the kitchen for meatloaf. Rufus circling hopeful. Dinner was interrogation light. Joseph's coaching tales drawing her laughs. My mural prints earning, my boy's an artist. But post-meal, coffee steaming. She dropped it. I'm moving. Here. To Chicago. Silence thrummed. Thicker than the lake fog. Moving. PFLAG chapters got a senior spot. Affordable, lake views. Closer to you. To us. Her eyes flicked to Joseph, inclusive. If that's okay. Joseph grinned, squeezing my knee. More than. Welcome to the chaos, Mrs. H. I nodded, stunned. Joy warring with wariness. Yeah, okay. But why now? She sipped. Steady. Dad's gone. House sold. Can't rattle alone in Ohio. Ghosts everywhere. And you, Sammy, your life's here. Want in if you'll have me. Have her. The prodigal mom. Flipped. We talked late. Apologies recycled, but fresh. Her therapy journals, regrets inked black. Called you ugly to armor my fear, she admitted. Fear of losing the son I loved. Stupid. Joseph mediated gentle, stories bridging. His own coming out fumbles, Lindsay's grace notes. By midnight, tears dried, plans sketched. Apartment hunts, Sunday suppers. She crashed on the couch, Rufus guard dogging. I lay awake beside Joseph, his breath even. This real, I whispered. Real as us. Kiss to temple. Embrace it. But embrace tangled with dread. Week 2. Apartment viewing in Uptown. Charming walk-up. But as Mom oohed over crown molding, my phone buzzed. Tommy Whitaker. Heard your mom's relocating. Bold. Watch the old man echoes. Your dad wasn't the only bigot in town. Attached. Screenshot. Facebook thread from reunion diehards. Hayes kids turning Chi into fag central. Mom too? Pathetic. Rage boiled. Fingers white on the rail. Joseph peeked, jaw clenching. Assholes. Block and delete. Mom caught the vibe, post-viewing over pierogies. What? I showed her brutal honesty test. Her face crumpled, then hardened. Ugly words from ugly hearts. Ignoring, baby. Or fight, your choice. Choice. I chose fight. Posted the mural link. Captioned home is where heart rebuilds. Rust Belt pride queer and here. Shares snowballed. Comments a mix. Hate trolls drowned in support waves. Joseph's team kids chimed. Coach Sammy's dope. Momentum built. A queer Rust Belt panel invite landing me speaking. Mom attended the hunt's end. Signing lease with flourish. New start. But that night, unpacking boxes in her new digs, she unearthed a box. Dad's, unlabeled. Inside, more letters mine returned. His unsent replies, scrawled shaky. Son, forgive old fool. Proud always. And a photo. Us three pre-abandonment. Fishing the Mahoning. Grins gummy. Tears came, collective, we sat on her thrift store rug. Passing the pic. He loved you, she whispered. Just sucked at showing. Healing, Joseph echoed, arm around us both. Bridge built. Yet betrayal's shadow lengthened. Joseph's ex-drama reignited. Lindsay's lawyer emailing. Custody nitpicks over Rufus's environment. Your partner's influence. It sneered, veiled homophobia. He slammed the laptop, storming the block. Jog turned fury pace. I chased. Lake path slick with spring rain. Joe, wait. He whirled, soaked, eyes wild. It's bullshit, Sammy. But it sticks. Unfit because of us. Because I chose you over safe. Chose? Echo hurt. Like it's a demotion? No. He raked wet hair. God, no. You're the win. But the fight. It's exhausting. What if I lose him? The dog. The cred. Then we pivot. I stepped close. Rain mingling tears. Adopt 10 Rufuses. Coach Little League here. Whatever. But don't blame us. The crux. He deflated. Pulling me under his jacket. Hearts hammering sync. You're right. Again. Sorry, ghosts talking. We walked back drenched, steaming in the shower later. Talk, not passion, soaping away doubt. Therapy solo? I suggested. He nodded, vulnerable. Mom's move-in party was low-key. Her, us, center kids from the mural, Flo from the diner, vacationing Chi. Laughter filled the space. Pierogies devoured, stories swapped. One kid, shy with braces, cornered me. Your story inspires. Thought I was ugly too. Not even close, I said, hugging awkward. Mom beamed from the kitchen, pride pure. But climax brewed distant. Reunion's 1-year mark loomed. Sequel invite. Deeper connections. I balked. Joseph pushed gentle. Closure 2.0. Face the Thomases. Thomases. The thread trolls, Tommy's echo chamber. I RSVP'd, resolve steel. Event night. Gym festooned anew. Banners brighter. Crowd thicker. Mom on my arm, Joseph's hand in my back pocket. Trio unbreakable. Whispers hit. Hayes with his people. We owned it. Dancing to Madonna remixes. Mom twirling shocking good. Then Tommy, beer loose, cornered us by the bar. Sammy. Mom. Joe. Big city glow up? Huh. Yep. I sipped punch, steady. You? He leered, slurring. Heard about the panel. Stirring shit, Hayes. Some folks miss the old Youngstown. Straight, simple. Mom stiffened. Joseph stepped forward. Calm thunder. Simple's overrated, Tom. Complex builds character. Like your comb over. Laughter rippled, bystanders turning. Tommy flushed, swinging wild. You queers ruining. Enough. Dad's old mill buddy, grizzled at the punch bowl, clapped Tommy's shoulder. Boys right. Times change. Hayes fought for his respect that. Tommy slunk off, tail tucked. We exhaled. Mom toasting. To ruining nothing, building everything. Outside after, stars sharp, Joseph kissed me slow. Mom averting polite. Shocking sequel, he murmured. Best kind. Hand in hand, her trailing, we walked into night. Past conquered, future unfurling human, whole. Summer scorched again, but Chicago's heat felt different. Energized, electric. The lake a sapphire tease under relentless sun. Mom's apartment became hub. Block parties with her pierogies. Game nights where Rufus stole socks. Joseph's playbook doodles littering her coffee table. She'd rib him gentle. Coach, ease up. Life's not a huddle. And he'd grin, calling her Mrs. H. The bond easy as breathing. Me? I watched, amazed, family, not facsimile. Ugly fractures mended, not seamless, but strong. Work surged. The docuseries gig ballooned into a full series, Steel Hearts. Queer stories from the belt. My designs threading visuals like veins. Interviews loomed, back to Ohio, mills and memories. Joseph tagged along, camera shy but steady, his presence my North Star. First stop, Youngstown. The river we'd skipped stones in now backdrop for a trans mechanic's tale. Resilient, raw. Like you, the director said post-shoot, clapping my back. Turning pain to power. Power. It hummed, but hubris crept. Reunion buzz lingered. Invites piled, panels, podcasts, even a TEDx slot. From abandoned to architect. Reclaiming queer roots. Prep consumed me. Slides scripted, Joseph's feedback gold. Less data, more heart. Sammy. Heart. That's where it frayed. Lindsay's custody dust settled. Rufus ours undisputed, but scars itched. One call. Her voice olive branch. Congrats on the series. Saw pics, you two look. Solid. Sorry for the drama. Apology laced regret. Joseph hung up lighter, but I probed later, over gelato on the Mag Mile. Think she's genuine? Yeah. He licked mint chip casual. Water under. Why? Just. Patterns. Betrayals disguised as peace. Insecure? Hell yes. Therapy unpacked it. Abandonment's echo. Every olive branch suspect. He squeezed my hand. Tourists swirling. No disguises here. What you see, whip-smart, slightly neurotic designer, is what you get. Laughter bubbled, easing. But the TEDx loomed, nerves jangling like locker slams. Night before, loft a war zone. Notes scattered, wine half gone. Panic hit. What if they see ugly? The stutter, the scars? Joseph found me curled on the rug, breathing ragged. Hey, breathe with me. In out, his chest to mine, metronome steady. Then, you're not that kid anymore. You're the man who built this. Built. We crashed early, his arms fortress. Stage next day. Spotlight hot, crowd a sea. Mom front row, beaming. Joseph thumbs upping. Words flowed. Hook with the punch. Arc through abandonment. Climax reunion shock. Close humanistic. Ugly's not born. It's branded. But we rebrand. Love by love. Story by story. Applause thundered. Standing ovation. Tears pricked as I stepped off. Joseph crushing me backstage. Nailed it. Proud doesn't cover. Mom hugged next, whispering, Dad would have burst. Burst. Grief's gift, joy laced sorrow. High faded into harvest. Series wrapped. Premiere invite, Chicago Film Fest. Red carpet absurd. We suited up, me charcoal, him navy. Mom in emerald, her fancy frock. Paparazzi flashes popped. Joseph's hand firm in mine. Mom waving queenly. Inside, the film unspooled. My graphics pulsing with voices. The mechanic, a drag king from Akron. Elders who'd hidden loves in mill shadows. Credits rolled. Dedicated to Samuel Hayes, architect of hearts. Crowd rose. Sobs choked me, Joseph's arms steel. After-party buzzed, networkers circling. But we slipped out early, lakefront stroll under moon. This your shocking end? He teased, wind whipping. Nah, just intermission. Kiss salt-tanged, deep. But life's no script, betrayal's encore waited. Fall deepened. Joseph's team geared for state. But scouts sniffed. College offers, D2 gigs in Cali, Texas. Big leagues. He joked over tacos, but eyes serious. What if? We talked move. Move. The word iced my veins. You'd leave? For what? Better pay? Sunny fields. Opportunity. He set down his fork, careful. For us, your series could go national, my coaching, step up. Fresh start, no Rust Belt ghosts. Ghosts. Mine stirred. Abandonment specter. Parents' porch replay. Go. Don't come back. And Mom? The life here. Visits. FaceTime. Dismissive. Sammy, think bigger. Bigger. Or betrayal, him choosing ambition over us like Dad chose shame. Fights simmered. My silences, his frustrations. You're stalling, he'd snap. Scared of winning? Scared of losing you to it? I'd retort. Therapy strained. Solo sessions for me, unpacking fear. Couples for us, excavating trust. Climax cracked open Thanksgiving. Mom's table groaning turkey. Rufus begging. But tension crackled. Joseph announced post-pie. Offers in Ohio State assistant. Closer, actually. But the Cal one's gold. Mom glanced at me, neutral. I bolted to the balcony, chill biting. He followed, door clicking. Talk to me. Talk. Voice broke. You're pulling a me, abandoning built for shiny. After everything, the reunion, the fights. What's us, if not roots? Us is portable. He gripped the rail, knuckles white. Love you enough to chase dreams together. Together. Laughter bitter. Or me tagging along, baggage? Silence stretched, painful. Then, maybe I am running. From small-town labels. The punch, I can't erase. Confession raw. But not from you. Ever. Tears froze on lashes. Then stay. Build here. He turned, eyes searching stars. For you? Yeah. Relief flooded, hug desperate. Mom poked head out. Boys? Pie's cold. Laughter thawed. We re-entered. Hands linked. Winter whispered peace. His offer declined polite. Local scouts circling. Series premiered to raves. My name buzzing. Mom's PFLAG talks featured me. My son. The survivor. But true climax brewed internal. Christmas Eve. Snow blanketing the loft, tree twinkling kitsch. Joseph knelt by the fire. Ring box velvet, simple band glinting. Marry me, Sammy. Not for show, for us. Shocking plot twist. Tears blurred. Yes choked out, kiss ceiling. Mom, via video, whooped from her tree. Grandkids? Adopt. Spring wedding. Small, Lakeview. Center kids as ring bearers, Flo officiating. I now pronounce you Wildcats forever. Vows heartfelt, Joseph's from punch to promise. Mine ugly to unbreakable, with you. Honeymoon, Ohio, ironic loop. Mill tour, river picnic, Joseph's old field for a vow renewal, acorns crunching. Full circle, he said, ring catching son. Back in Chicago, life layered. His head coach bump at a Northside High, my studio launch, designs for queer nonprofits nationwide. Mom's stories wove in, grandmom to Rufus, aunt to the center kids. Years folded. Anniversary reunions, not shocking but sweet. Gym dances, diner brunches. Betrayals, faded footnotes, lessons in grace. Human end. Not fairy tale, but earned. Love's slow burn. Romantic in resilience, dramatic in depth. From abandoned ugly to union unbreakable, we ran no more. We rooted, bloomed, endured.